Okay, so let's look at chapter 5, number 7. We're going to do just a few of these so you get kind of a taste of them. So the goal here is to turn each of these into either a constant or one term, like a single trig thing. So like final answer could be cosine theta. So if we look at C here, every time I do a video, my phone goes off. All right. So where was I? C. Let's do C. So cotan theta, or cotan u, and sine u are multiplied together. There's not a whole lot you can do. One trick is when you get stuck, turn everything into sines and cosines, um, and then simplify. So in this case, this is going to turn into cotangent is cosine over sine. And then we're going to multiply this by sine u, and now it's pretty obvious that these will cancel, and you're just left with cosine u. So there's part C, cosine u. In D, we've got, excuse me, 1 minus cosine squared theta on top, and sine theta on the bottom. And so when I look at this, I think there's got to be a way to get the top in terms of sine so that you can cancel, because the goal is to end up with just a single trig term. So that means the sine on the bottom's got to go away somehow. So 1 minus cosine squared, if you think about the fact that 1 equals sine squared theta plus cosine squared theta, then you know that 1 minus sine squared theta is going to be cosine squared theta. Or you could do 1 minus cosine squared theta equals sine squared theta. It's useful to think of it in these two ways also. So in this case, 1 minus cosine squared is really sine squared. And then we can do a little cancellation, and you just get sine theta. So then we got one more here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that was D. F. So F is sine squared u plus tan squared u plus cos squared u all over, all over secant u. All right. So one thing that I see here is the fact that I've got sine u here, sine squared u and cosine squared u. And if I put these together, they should always equal 1. So now I can rewrite this in a slightly simpler way. 1 plus tan squared u over secant u. Now this is a good time to look at this one. And 1 plus tan squared is the same as secant squared. And so we could now say this is secant squared u over secant u. And then a quick simplification turns it into just a single secant u. Now maybe you don't recognize the numerator yet as secant squared. Hopefully you do, but if you don't, that's okay. You could say, at this point, you'd probably kind of feel stuck in the problem. So that's where you use the strategy, turn everything into sines and cosines, and then see what you can do. So in this case, it would make the problem a lot longer, but you can do it. You can say 1 plus sine squared u over cos squared u, all over 1 over cos u. And then we start working this out. So I want to, let's get a common denominator here on the numerator. So I'll do cos squared u over cos squared u, and then I'm going to add that to the other part. So this is the numerator, all over 1 over cos u. And then this part right here has to be 1. So we can write this as 1 over cos squared u over 1 over cos u. If I multiply everything by cos u over cos u to get rid of this part in the denominator here, then these guys will cancel, and up on top, one of these will cancel with one of those, and I'm left with 1 over cos u, which is the same thing as secant u. So there's another way of doing it. You can see it's a lot longer if you don't start to recognize that this turns into that. Okay, hope that helps.